I'm live. Yes. We love technology when it works. Yeah.
Picture of you really quick for our socials?
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome sauce. All right. We ready to rock and roll today?
Yes.
Come on now. I mean, come on.
Monday morning.
I know we're all bored because of Super Bowl, and that was very, very boring. But we're going to talk about something that's boring that we're going to make lively, and that is our pathway to passive profits. Because we all want to have passive income. We all want to have our money work in our sleep and not on our feet. And I'm going to give you practical ways to do that today. We're going to do some teaching and also some mindset as well. All right. So first off, please, you guys, open up your phone, scan this QR code, because this presentation I'm going to give you guys actually will have it. So just do the QR code. I want you to put your first name, first name, email address. We'll email this over to you because there's a lot of good information. As you know, with anything, we see it the first time, we could always pull it up and say, oh, okay, there we go. All right, cool. Now, so who am I, right? So this is, instead of doing an intro, we use AI. So you can kind of see who I am. Oh, the music's not playing, but it's okay, though.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. And also in the email I'm going to send you guys, I would strongly recommend, it's a company that does it, I would strongly recommend you guys do it too, because as real estate agents, it's a saturation. Let's just be honest. A lot of saturation of real estate agents, right? And everybody says that they're the best. But what sets you apart? This is what sets you apart, right? You identifying with your consumers, with the market, who you are. It's the thing called LKT, like, know, and trust. And the more that they like you, the more that they know you, the more that they trust you, that's going to be the difference between you getting the deal and somebody else. That's going to be a difference between a canceled contract and a non-canceled contract. So the more that they know you, the more that they like you, and the more that they can trust you, it goes a long way. So doing things with AI, we all love AI, we all love automation. This sets you guys apart. So I strongly recommend you having, instead of a bio, having an electronic AI commercial, because it goes a long way. It shows innovation. It shows how much you care about yourself to others, but also it also shows what impact you give to the community. So so that's me in a nutshell. I'm a best-selling author. It's good to see it in person instead of me saying it, right? And then, of course, on my awards, I won Entrepreneur of the Year in 2024, which is pretty cool. And then also I got the Myron Golden Award. I make $100,000 a day twice a month, but it's good to kind of have automation show that. So, all right. So now we're going to get started, but we have a creed, so we have to repeat with me in the count of three our creed, because when we speak something into existence, it happens, all right? So in the count of three, 1, 2, 3, I am a wealth builder. Okay, doesn't that feel good when you say it? All right, okay. Number 2, on the count of three, 1, 2, 3. Raise your hands. Who here wants to create a legacy? We all want to create a legacy. Now, that legacy might be different. It might be donating all our money to a church. It might be doing missions across the world. It might just be helping people make more money in real estate. But we all have a legacy. But speaking it out loud, it does something to our soul. All right. Number 3, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I want to transform my finances.
Is it just me, or that I make money, but sometimes money's not always in my pocket? It goes here, 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 and I don't know why. We want to transform our finances, and today we're going to go over how to do that. And number 4, last but not least, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I want my profits to be passive.
Who would like to have passive income? Right? We want to make money in our sleep, not on our feet. And because you guys are real estate agents, you have the opportunity that most Americans don't have. And what is that? You're able to be working in something where you make passive income, but it acts as active income, right? This is huge for real estate agents. I think real estate agents have it actually the cheat code, really the cheat code, because when people work today, if they have a business and a side business, that side business, they can't write that off towards what they're making on a day-to-day basis. anything and everything you do is a tax deduction. If you do it through real estate, you get a double tax deduction, and most Americans don't have that. So it's a lot of passive income you're able to take advantage of if your real estate business is structured properly, which we're going to go over today. Right. So why realtors make money, but they don't build wealth? Well, a few reasons why. Not you guys in the room, though, but a few reasons why. Number one, inconsistent income. As a realtor, is our income consistent all the time? Of course not, right? Life, right? Number two, high expenses. The rent's too high. Things are expensive. We'll kind of go over how to have some strategies to make sure that we're aligned if those expenses go up. Number three, no tax strategy. Number four, no system after commission hits, right? We got the commission. It comes and goes, but then there's no system. So we'll kind of talk about that because high income does not equal wealth. Strategy does, right? Very, very important. Making money is one thing, but keeping it is another. All right. So the question nobody has, what happens to our money after we get paid, right? Money comes in, money goes out. What happened? It's gone. It's gone. Raise your hand if you felt like that, right? You made money, you had a closing, and 2 weeks later, it's gone, right? You work hard for every dollar of commission, but most people never slow down enough to decide where the money should go before it disappears. We're going to go over strategy today to make sure that every dollar that comes in is accounted for, right? So the pathway to passive profits. You guys want to take a picture of this. I know you guys got the QR code, but this is the framework. This framework right here goes a long way. Income, tax strategy. The IRS is your biggest business partner by far. Protection. How do we protect our assets? A passive system where, again, our money grows in our sleep, not on our feet, and then wealth. See, the passive profits do not start with investments. They start with the structure. All right. So realtor income is based on income. So if you're a realtor, you're a business owner first, a salesperson second. Key point, Schedule C for LLC. From a tax standpoint, strongly recommend all you guys to have at least one piece of property. Okay? So I know we are growing, helping people, but doesn't it feel a little bit different when we tell a client about our actual goods and bads of that rental property, right? When we're walking through a house and they said, I don't know about this rental property. I got my primary property I just want to hold back. Isn't it good to tell them first-hand experience? Well, this is how much I'm actually making in my rental property. This is how I'm able to deduct things from a tax standpoint. This is how I'm able to feel about the extra money I make. It feels different than just kind of just telling a person without knowing. So I would strongly recommend, and when you do that, you want to put it into an LLC. The reason why you put it into the LLC is from a tax standpoint, now you have that double tax deduction like I talked about. You're having tax deductions as a employee, your own self-employee, right? Then also that LLC funnels off tax deductions as well, right? So we could do, which I'll talk about here shortly, we could do things like a home office deduction. So now us as a person, we're able to deduct one piece of our property as a person, but now our LLC is another tax deduction, right? Bless you, right? JEA. I can't run a business if I don't have JEA. That's one tax deduction. But if I have an LLC that's bringing in income from my rental property, I can't run my rental property business without my JEA. So now that's two tax deductions instead of one. So having yourself structured property, everything that you do expense-wise, we're able to deduct it twice and not once because we set up that LLC. So strongly recommend that we all have at least one piece of rental property. We understand that? We understand that, okay? That's that. Key point number 2, an S corp. Once we start making more than $50,000 a year, we want to change the taxation from a Schedule C, which you guys are now, to a S corp. That's profit, right? Anybody know why? Just kind of, and again, the worst answer is the one not answered. So let me know why you think an S corp is better than where you guys are now, which is a Schedule C. Anybody?
I just don't know why, other than my CPA.
More protection.
Okay. Question, or you just thinking? Okay.
Well, I know there's more deductions available after a certain amount. I thought it was 100,000. You just said 50,000.
Yeah, profit.
That's all I know, but I don't know why.
Yeah. No, great though, great. So 50,000 profit, right? So we could make 100,000, But if our expenses are $80,000, we only made $20,000 in profit, really doesn't help us. So it's having profit of more than $50,000. The reason why that is because when you pay yourself as a Schedule C. Whenever you pay yourself, it is 15% of taxes that you pay the IRS, right? Payroll taxes. We have to pay Medicare, FICO. I'm a disabled veteran, so y'all pay y'all taxes. Give me my disability, y'all. Give it to me, right? I got this busted up ankle. Give me that disability, right? So we have to pay taxes. It doesn't matter how much we make. We pay ourselves. We're paying all 15%. But when we're at S Corp, we're able to have what you call salary and distribution. So let's say we make $100,000, let's just say, and we pay ourselves $30,000. Because IRS Section Code 162A, if our deductions or what we pay ourselves are fair, ordinary, reasonable, and necessary, in the pursuit of income for our business, it's a tax deduction. Every single real estate agent in this room, you run your business differently, right? So all your tax deductions and how much you pay yourself can be justified as long as it's fair, ordinary, reasonable, and necessary, right? So that means that if we make $100,000, maybe we don't pay ourselves $80,000. Maybe we pay ourselves $30,000, right? So now when we pay ourselves $30,000, we pay taxes on that $30,000, not on that full $100,000, right? So from a 15% standpoint, if I'm a Schedule C, 15% of $100,000, I'm paying the IRS $15,000. If I'm an S Corp and I only pay 15% on that $30,000 on that salary, then that is, what's that, $4,500, right? Right? Let me ask you guys a question. Would you rather pay $15,000 in taxes or $4,500 in taxes? Okay, all right, right? So yeah, so that is very, very important because again, the IRS, they are your biggest business partner. And then also, entity choice matters. It's very, very important. When you have that entity, you have it squared away. And this tax form that you want to do, right? It's tax form 2553. Write this down, please. Tax form 2553. That is when you're making the election with the IRS that I don't want to be taxed as a Schedule C anymore. I want to be taxed as an S Corp. Okay? So that's when we make that election. So form 2553. And then the tax form that your CPA does for you is tax form 1120, 1120. That's saying, hey, I'm being taxed as an S Corp, not a Schedule C, right? Now, we get the question all the time, well, I'm an LLC. Yes, an LLC is an entity, right? That's state level. You're saying, hey, state of Florida, I am operating business in Florida. That is state level. That's an entity. But how you're taxed is different. Right, how you're taxed is a Schedule C, which is called a distressed LLC. So you're taxed as a Schedule C, and once you make that election with the form 2553 that I talked about, then you go from being taxed as a Schedule C to taxed as a S Corp. You understand that?
Yes.
Right? I'm trying to make taxes fun for you guys, right? As a certified financial planner, you know, the great thing about us, we do tax strategy. We have internal CPAs, so we're like the best of all worlds. But, you know, sometimes taxes and business structure, it's not fun. But we try to make it fun for you guys. All right, next. The 50,000 rule, the big aha moment. All right, so once you net $50,000 in game changer, like I talked about, S Corp election. Again, fair, reasonable, ordinary, necessary from a salary standpoint. But now we know some real estate agents makes millions of dollars. Some real estate agents maybe 20 or 30,000, right? So you can justify with documentation that you pay yourself less, you're going to pay less taxes because it's justifiable. You can't do that as a Schedule C, it's as a S Corp. Payroll tax savings. Again, you do not pay as much payroll taxes. And if you have it really structured properly with children, then we can actually pay no taxes at all with the children. And then, can I go over this for a second, the payroll? Who have, anybody children? Raise your hand, have children? Okay, cool. Oh, we have children. Okay, cool. So, if you have children and they're under 18, by law, if they are in a LLC, they don't pay any payroll taxes, all right? If you have children under 18, if they make $15,300 or less, they don't pay any taxes at all. So here's a hack. If we have an S Corp, what we want to do is that we want to pay our children a salary. Now, two ways we can do it: the tax strategy way or the advanced tax strategy way. Which one you guys want to give you? You want to give you the tax strategist way or the advanced tax strategist way? Both? Okay, all right, okay. So the tax strategist way is just pay them through your S corp. Okay. So again, let's say the S corp makes $100,000. We have 2 children. We pay them $15,000. That decreases our tax deduction from $100,000 to $70,000. Okay. And it's our kids. So are they really getting the money? I don't think so. It's our kids, right? My daughter, she's 12 now. She's been on payroll since the day she was born. Our goddaughter, she's 19. She's in college. She was on our payroll since the day we was born.
What's her
Right.
job title?
Well, that's the great thing. Section 162A tax code. Fair, ordinary, reasonable, necessary. It's a write-off. So I do social media, right? So when you're a real estate agent, right, you do a post about generational wealth, about why having passive income grows. Is that an advertisement for you?
Yes.
And don't we love kids? We love little kids. Kids sell more than us. I know I got a beautiful face, but it's not like my daughter's beautiful face.
Can I write off my corgi?
Your dog?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. But your children, you can definitely write off though, yeah. Because you have agencies that pay children tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands in some cases, right? So for them, fair, ordinary, reasonable, necessary. So yes, you would be able to write off your children. Now, from a documentation standpoint, what gets people in trouble is not the strategy, it's actually the documentation. So you want to have an operating agreement. Write this down. Once we're LLC, right, we want to have an operating agreement. The operating agreement says how we are operating, right? So if we're a real estate agent, we also want to sell in Florida and other states as well. That means when we go travel to Arizona, travel to California, travel to Miami, that is a tax deduction, right? Because it's in our operating agreement. And then we want to have an employment agreement, right? So you have an employment agreement saying the roles and responsibilities that your children are doing, right? Are they shredding papers? Are you posting them on social media? So now, if it's a 0.5% chance you get out of it. 1 out of 200 people get out of it, okay? So it's a 0.5% chance. But if you have that documentation, it justifies that strategy and it justifies that write-off. Does that kind of help answer the question? Yeah. Always ladies first. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, Lord, love you.
Yeah.
Can it only be your children? Can it be your grandbaby?
It can, yeah, of course, anybody. Okay. Yep. And again, if they're under 18, 15,000 or less, no taxes. Yep, under 18, 15,300 to be exact or less, no taxes. Yes.
Real life example, my daughter basically is taxed to empty the basket, check phone log, clean up the office.
Mm-hmm.
And also we have local businesses such as Keith Pearson Toyota. You see their kids, the twins,
Mm-hmm.
on the billboard every single year until they off to college.
Yep, tax deduction. Yep, tax deduction. So that is the tax strategy way. The advanced tax strategy way, right? We open up a separate LLC. And that separate LLC is an advertisement company, right? So the reason why we do that is because, again, instead of because when we pay our children $15,000, it's a tax deduction, but they still pay payroll tax we don't pay federal taxes, but it's payroll tax in the S corp. Nothing we can do about that. But if we open up a advertisement agency in our S corp, instead of paying the children $30,000, we pay the LLC advertisement company $30,000 management fee, right? Because when somebody runs your advertisement, you pay them a fee, right? So now I'm paying a $30,000 management fee. So my S corp still has that $30,000 tax deduction, because if I pay an agency to advertise, I get to deduct that, right? So whoop, that's $30,000 that comes to my own LLC, right? Now that's income. So my LLC has income of $30,000. But guess what? I pay my children $15,000 each from that LLC. And since a LLC, if you pay a child that's under 18 through a LLC, they don't pay any payroll taxes. Payroll taxes on $15,000 is $4,500. That strategy saves you $9,000 a year from your child being 0 to 18 years old. Let's compound that. $9,000 a year over 10 years is $90,000. $9,000 over 18 years is $160,000. How much can we do with $160,000 over 18 years? Yeah, okay. College, almost paid for, right? How many rental properties could we acquire with an extra $180,000 over 18 years? That would probably give you about $50,000 to $60,000 of cash flow every single month. And if we're really structuring the property, then we put all those extra rental properties in a trust. Some of that rental income, we get a life insurance policy, so if we die, it pays off all the mortgages because we love mortgages. We don't like to pay anything in cash. So with structure, strategy, and an advanced strategy, it goes a long way. This is why I say the IRS is your biggest business partner, because if you do things like this, the IRS pays you for your lifestyle. You can't put a price on that. All right, home office deduction done correctly, right? Your home is one of your biggest tax assets. Exclusive regular use, percentage method, rent from your home, utilities, internet. Everything you do is a tax deduction. That's why I say you guys as real estate agents, you have the best of both worlds. Because since your income is active from a tax code standpoint, everything you do is a tax deduction. If a person is a W-2 employee, they cannot write off their internet. They can't write off their JEA. They can't write off their gas. But since you're active in the tax code, you can. And number two, if we have that rental property like I talked about through an LLC, now we get double the write-off. Now the kitchen is our office and the living room is the office for the LLC. 2 tax deductions, same house. JEA, 1 tax deduction. JEA, another tax deduction. Part of the phone bill, 1 tax deduction. Part of another phone bill, another tax deduction. We get double the tax deductions because we are licensed real estate agents. It is a huge tax play for you guys that most Americans don't have. That's why, again, it's very important just to get that first rental property. It goes a long, long way. Turn family into a tax advantage, right? Pay kids the standard deduction like I talked about, right? Now, when it comes to work, legitimate work, right? And everything is marketing, everything is Facebook, IG related, so it's work. You post them, you post about legacy, you post about life, you post about generational wealth, fair, again, IRS, if you don't get anything from this, IRS, please write this down, IRS section code 162A. This is a game changer. IRS section 162A. Your income you pay yourself and your expenses, as long as they're fair, ordinary, necessary, and reasonable in the pursuit of income, is a tax deduction. People use their kids all the time in advertisement. You said Keith Pearson, so why can't you? Why can't you? You can. You should, and after this, hopefully you will. Have grandkids, the same thing. We love, and I don't have grandkids yet, but my mom, she loves my daughter because she can have her and then return the sender, right? So we love grandkids. Also, another cool thing about it is that since they now are getting income, you can then pay them. You can pay them via Roth IRA. My daughter has a Roth IRA. That money is growing tax-free. It's going to continue to go to tax-free, basically, hope perfect for the rest of her life because it's income. When you pay a person something, they have income. Now you can do a Roth IRA. So now, with the money that we have, we can put that into an IRA. We can put up to $7,000 a year into that. Up to $7,000, no minimum, max $7,000 a year, and all that money grows tax-free. Or if you want another tax deduction, then you can do a traditional IRA. Because we put money into a traditional IRA, that money grows tax deferred. Now, if it's for our children, since they're not paying taxes anyways, wouldn't recommend that. Right. For you, I would recommend, not for the kids. I recommend more of a Roth IRA. Okay? But it's mostly, and it's strategically, it's mostly because we do advertisement. People want to see the kids, not us. It's just whatever it is, right? Or dogs. We love dogs, right? We love dogs, right? Our dogs go to heaven. Our old dog was a Labrador mixed with a Corgi. It was a rescue dog. I don't know how that happened. A Labrador and a Corgi mix, but it happened, right? Sapphire. But yeah, so it's emotionally and strategical, right? S Corp versus C Corp. Okay, so people who typically make $3 million or more, that's when you want to do a C Corp. You're like, oh, that ain't me. It's okay though. Typical. But again, from a tax strategy standpoint, it is ways for us to use a C Corp to our advantage. Because with an S Corp is calendar year taxes, meaning that I'm taxed from January to December, right? But with a C Corp, I can do what you call fiscal accounting. meaning that I can start my year whenever I want to. I can start my year from July to June. It could be from September to August, whenever you want to. So now this gives you a way to kind of massage your tax deductions if you do marketing. Who here does marketing? Facebook ads, marketing? You don't? Okay. The cheat code is Facebook ads. Typically, with the right Facebook ad, you should 3 to 10x, right? We spend, let's say, $100, we get $300 back. You know, we spend $1,000, we get about $3,000 back, right? Facebook ads is the cheat code if it's done correctly. If it's done correctly, right? That's why we definitely recommend, I don't do Facebook mentorship, but, you know, finding a mentor, finding an agency goes a long way. You want some names and numbers, I can give you that. Marketing, Facebook ads, branding, income smoothing. So the reason why this is important, because if we pay for Facebook ads right out of our pocket, that's one tax deduction. But how can I get 2 tax deductions running Facebook ads? Again, tax strategy, that's a write-off, but advanced tax strategy. We want advanced tax strategy. We want your dollar to last as long as possible, because having passive profits means you're making money in your sleep, not on your feet. How do we do that? Well, let's say we spend $30,000 a year in Facebook ads, right? That sounds like a lot, but $30,000 a year should yield you at least $60,000. So if I spend 30, that's a lot, but I get back 60, am I happy? Who would like to double their money? Right? Okay, right? And another thing about Facebook ads, it never goes away. It's in the algorithm. So 2, 3, 4 years from now, people are going to see it, right? It's always there. And if you continue to do real estate, hey, I saw this 6 years ago. Do I look younger or older? You know, it's always there. But this is what we want to do, though. So again, using that S corp, that's why I said after 50,000, be an S corp. And again, let's say we spend $30,000 in Facebook ads. Instead of us having it from our S corp to the advertisement agency, no. We create our own advertisement agency and pay that advertisement agency as a subcontractor through our C corp. How do we do this? So that's $30,000, right? We pay our C corp $30,000 as a management fee. So that brings down our tax liability from $100,000 to $70,000 in our S corp. Okay? One tax deduction. Strategy. Advanced strategy. Now, with this $30,000 I made, now I pay the advertisement agency as a subcontractor. In Section 162A, fair, ordinary, necessary, and reasonable, subcontractors can be up to 100% tax deduction. So now with that $30,000 in my C corp, I pay that advertisement agency as a subcontractor, $30,000. Now that's $60,000 of tax deductions worth $30,000. Right? And the best part about it, because it's Facebook ads, if it's done correctly, I'm going to make my money back and then some, because Facebook ads historically give you a 3x or more return. You guys understand that strategy?
Oh, yes.
Okay, all right. Am I giving you guys good information?
Yes.
All right, cool. That's that. Marketing is a tax strategy, like I said. Spending money strategically. Facebook ads, video content. I have a videographer, right? Videographer costs me whatever he costs me, right? I ain't going to say how much you charge. But you can use him. He's great. He does my client events every year. He's RD is amazing. You cannot put a price on advertising. And in the tax code, I run my business than most other financial advisors. I got a turtleneck on, but usually I have like a shirt on. Sometimes I might have my chains on. Like I'm just, I run my business differently. And tax code 162A, fair, ordinary, reasonable, necessary. So how you run your business is how you run your business. So you can do all the marketing all you want to. It's all a tax deduction. But if that marketing is giving you more money in your business, it's the difference between you closing 1 property or 3 properties. It's worth it. You have to market yourself. People don't know who you are because they don't know you. But with marketing, lifestyle marketing, going through every single house, drop the goods and the bads. Hey, you guys, a person just canceled a closing. If you're a real estate agent, tell me how would you would feel. How should I feel right now? Because I worked with this person for 4 months. I did everything. I showed them 50 houses. And once it's time to sign pen to paper, they said no. Not to me, but because of the deal. Have you guys felt like that before? How many people is going to reply to that post? A lot of people. How many people is going to say, you know what? I should work with that person because I don't want them to go through the pain. A lot of people will. But if you don't do that, if you don't market yourself, if you don't advertise yourself, how will they know? How will they know your success? They care about your success, but they really care about your struggles because you're a human being. But if you don't market yourself, if you don't advertise yourself, then how will they know? Marketing goes a long way. I licensed financial advisor for 18 years. I'm a certified financial planner, been there since 2012. I've been making $1 million a year for the last 11 years, but the scale of my business the past 3 years has been exponential. And it's because I started on social media and I did way more Facebook ads. I now have about 42,000 followers on Instagram. Perfect by the end of the year, I have 100,000. It's incredible how many people pick up the phone and say, hey, Mario, I want to do business with you. Now, I was a dummy because before I did Facebook and social media, I used to say, I only get referrals. That's it. I ain't spending no money. I only get referrals. And I got referrals, right? But with referral, what happens? You still have to court them. Like, they kind of want to use you, right? Because they're, let's be honest, people are lazy, right? They want to buy a house, but they don't want to vet a person. So a referral. But so they want something, but they still got to fill you out, right? But when they find you on social media, they like you, they know you, they trust you. They're coming to you because of you, not because of referral. So they want to get that property, and they want you to help them get that property. That goes a long way. Then they want the property, and somebody told them to use you. So I'm going to see. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to put my toe in the water, right? Totally different. But unless they like you, know you, and trust you, it's going to be hard to get that instant yes for them to use you and not think twice about it. But that's done through content. All right, cost segregation study. Something that you should tell all of your buyers who are doing rental income. A primary property you cannot do. Raise your hands if you've heard about a cost segregation study. Have you guys ever heard that before? Okay, a cost segregation study. Okay, this is also what sets you apart as well, is education, right? We like to be educated. Now, will we act on that education? Maybe not, right? Because we got YouTube University, so it's one thing to get education, another thing to execute on it. But the more education that you give, the better and the higher probability that you're going to win the business, not somebody else. A cost segregation study is when you buy a property, you're able to depreciate the dwelling, right? So let's say a person buys a rental property, and you don't have to put all the cash in. It could be from a mortgage. So I buy a $300,000 house. Let's say at a $300,000 house, $50,000 of it is actually the land, okay? And the other $250,000 is the dwelling, okay? And let's say I get a mortgage, only put $20,000 down. So in a $300,000 house, I put $20,000 down. So I really only spent $20,000 for the house, right? What a cost segregation study is, the IRS says, hey, I'm going to allow you to write off $250,000 of the $300,000 house. They let you do that anyways, right? But when you write it off, it's over 27 years, right? Right? We get to write it over 27 years. But if we do this study, the IRS says that you cannot write it off in 27 years. You can write it off in 5 years. So in 5 years, I'm getting a $50,000 tax deduction every year. You think your clients would not think you a genius if you said, hey, if you buy this property and we structure it properly with a certified financial planner like me or somebody else, I'm going to give you a $50,000 tax deduction every year for the next 5 years? You think you're going to be more likely to win that business or less likely?
Oh, yeah.
More likely, right? Cost segregation study. It is a game changer, right? It accelerates the depreciation. If it's a commercial building, because of the big, beautiful bill, if it's a commercial building, you do not depreciate it over 39 years. You get to depreciate it all in 1 year. You've been working 4 years for that commercial building, and then you finally have it bought by a person. It's $1 million. Guess what? They get to write off that $1 million purchase that year, even if they pay $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 down. If I'm a business owner, I made $400,000, and I got $1 million tax deduction. What am I going to do? I'm not going to pay taxes. I'm going to use you again. And me as a realtor, guess what? You got that big old tax deduction? Let's buy another property. Let's do it all over again. We rinse and repeat. You get more business. your clients more happier. They're creating generational wealth, and you have a Rolodex of referrals that should not stop. Because when you do good for people, people let you know. Bad news travels fast. Good news travels slow, but it stays. The good news, the good referrals, they stay with you. So now you have two things, the like, know, and trust on social media and the referrals. But if we use social media properly, guess what, you guys? My client just did a cost segregation study. They had a $1 million building. It took 4 years, but they got a $1 million write-off. If you want to use a realtor like me and get a $1 million write-off, call me at blah, 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 blah. You think people won't want to pick up the phone and call you because you educated them and showed them how to have a $1 million tax deduction in year one? Education. And all that's done through cost segregation, right? You can use this with short-term and long-term rentals. Again, it's a massive tax deduction. Another reason why I say all you guys should have at least one piece of rental property, because you can talk the talk and walk the walk. It's one thing to tell them to do a cost segregation study. It's another thing to actually go through the process yourself, right? Because you do have to have an engineer come out. So they're gonna ask about, okay, what happens? What all entails? And you can kind of tell them, but it's one thing to tell them and go through it and tell them from your own experience, right? That's another reason why I say everybody in this room should have at least one rental property, one rental, because all the experience you can talk about and also really talk about because you went through it. Any questions there with a cost segregation study? No questions? Okay, cool. All right. They're not built, they're found. So again, passive income, passive and intentional. Real estate, right? So these are the biggest ways to have passive income. Real estate. Now, of course, you guys are all about real estate, so I'm not going to go over the other ones, but real estate, great way to have passive income. Business systems. Business system is passive because if you have system in place property, then you're going to reduce your expenses. When you reduce your expenses, you have more money in your pocket. More money in your pocket means more money that we make. Systems are key. Intellectual property. Again, you guys are real estate agents, so I won't go there. But then tax strategy stacking. A lot of tax strategies, and it's like a tip of the iceberg. It's probably about 5% of how you can save, but only got 45 minutes, only got 45 minutes. But the IRS is your biggest business partner, and that's why it's very important to have a certified financial planner as a tax strategist. It's a difference. I have CPAs who work for us, and we have CPAs that actually file our taxes, right? Because we have two sets of eyes. Us that do the strategy and the preparation, and a CPA firm that actually files the taxes. So 2 eyes are better than 1. Right? So we actually do it on purpose where we do all the strategy. We actually don't file your taxes. We actually hire a firm to make sure we're doing exactly what needs to be happening, and also we're not too aggressive, right? Because we don't want to be that 0.5% of people to get out of it, right? But the IRS is being, So the reason why we say a CPA. So a CPA, he or she is always backward looking, right? They say, hey, give me your stuff for last year, and I'm going to tell you how much you owe or how much you don't owe. Nothing's wrong with that. That's backward looking. I want to be forward looking. A tax strategist, he or she looks forward. Let's forecast how much money you need to spend to get these tax deductions. Let's forecast how many properties you need to sell to make sure that you make enough money to then have all this depreciation, right? How many properties you need to buy to justify that you do these cost segregation studies. We look forward. In real estate, backward looking is great, but we want to look forward. Let's look to see this development 5 years from now, not from today. Right? You guys are forward-looking. So you used to be forward-looking in your taxes. So it's great to have a CPA. I'm not anti-CPA, but a CPA is not enough. Who here has a CPA? Raise your hand. Right? Has your CPA told you half the strategies that it's talked about in the last half an hour? No. Right? Difference. Nothing against them. Still use them. But use a tax strategy as well so that you can then give that to that CPA and have him or her do things the advanced strategy way. Right? So yeah. Cool. So what wealth actually looks like, less stress. Who here would like to have less stress? Who here would like to make more money and less stress, right? That's what wealth looks like. And the great thing about it, wealth is different. Wealth is in the eye of the beholder. What I think wealth is different than what you think wealth is. What you think wealth is different. It's different, right? It was a study done by Nielsen's. Nielsen did a study. They asked people what is rich and what is wealthy. Now raise your hands. What do you think is a bigger number, rich or wealthy? If you think rich is a bigger number than wealth, raise your hand. If you think somebody rich is a bigger number than wealth. Okay. Raise your hand if you think wealth is a bigger number than rich. Most Americans think opposite. Most Americans think somebody is rich making more money than somebody that has wealth, that is wealthy. Opposite, right? Because again, what we think of wealth is totally different. Now, of course, Americans, we have the have and have nots. We have people that are uber successful, uber wealthy. We have people that's not making any money at all, and they think rich is making money and wealth is just assets, but assets actually is way more than just income, right? But I say that to say, having money and less stress goes a long way in lifestyle and makes life way better. Predictable cash flow. Wouldn't we love to have predictable amount of money coming in, right? I know y'all do as real estate agents, right? Because it's inconsistent. So having passive income goes a long way to have that baseline, okay? Options, and then also legacy, right? The grounds for inspiration, and when we feel good about ourselves, we're inspirational, life is even better. The real risk is inaction. This is what gets people in trouble. It actually costs more not to do something than to do something, right? Case in point, I talked about Facebook ads, right? Let's say you heard me talk about Facebook ads, so I was blue in my face, okay? And you did not do Facebook ads all this year. You waited into next year. You wanted to see somebody else on the team do it. You wanted them to be the guinea pig, okay? What happens over that year? They sell another property. They sell a $200,000 house. That's what, 6%, right? So that is what, $12,000? So the cost of you waiting 1 year costs you $12,000. Also, it costs you because of experience. You can't put a price on that. The person that you saw to be the guinea pig, they put a toe in the water. They went through the crap of Facebook ads not working and the success of Facebook ads working. They went through maybe one agency or another agency. They went through the highs of people calling them and the lows of people not calling them. They went through that whole experience, and experience you can't put a price on. So the cost of you waiting, even though $5,000 didn't leave your pocket, it costs way more than $5,000. That's why I strongly recommend everybody in this room get a mentor. I do mentorship. I have about 200 mentees. They pay me between $5,000 to $25,000 a year. I have 3 mentors. I pay about $200,000 a year in mentorship. Strongly recommend whoever is the successful mentor in your space, have he or she mentor you. Now, it's very important. When you do mentorship, do not do a mentor that's like the biggest real estate agent in the world, because that won't help. Because he or she is so high on the totem pole, they can't help you. They're looking down in the high rise, and you're here on ground level. You want a mentor that's been in the business, that's making where you want to be in 3 years. So let's say we make $100,000, you want to make $400,000. That's the mentor, right? Because he's close enough to where you're at, but he's further enough because he's been more successful, right? So that lifeline is a lot shorter. So he or she is on the 5th floor, not in the penthouse suite, okay? So very, very important to get mentorship, but don't get the biggest and the best. Now we're making $1 million, then yes, let's get that $2-3 million agency agent that's and how to sell New York and all those stuff like HCTV. That's what we want to do. But where we're at today, you want to get a person, like I said, 2 or 3 levels ahead of you, not 10. Number 2, we want to get a paid mentor. Very, very important, because you pay attention when you pay. Okay? When you guys go home today, I want you to do an exercise. Okay? Do an exercise. I want you to look at your bookshelf, okay? I want you to look at the books that you paid for and the books that you got for free. And I want you guys to send me a text, because I'm going to text you guys this thing. Send me a text. I want you guys to text me the most books you read on that bookshelf. Was it books that you paid for, or was it books that were free?
Paid for.
Thank you. Because you pay attention when you pay. When you guys go to the mall, if it's a kiosk and they give you a free shirt, you get that free shirt, then you go spend that money and spend your money on another shirt. What shirt are you going to wear first? The free shirt or the shirt that you spent money on? Why?
Because you spend the money and you expect something more.
Yeah, because you pay attention when you pay.
I'm just the opposite. I would wear the free shirt all day long and go, this is free.
Yeah. And it's the old adage, it's free, it's for me.
Me. There you go.
Yeah. But when you pay, you don't delay.
Well,
You don't pay? Okay.
I'm so frugal.
Okay. Oh, frugal's good.
So frugal.
Frugal's good. Frugal's good.
Take the free shirt and wear it and advertise for you.
Okay. But yeah, so if it's free, it's for me, but when you pay, you don't delay. You see, success loves speed, right? Even my clients, my most successful clients, even if the ones that's not making the most money, they're the most successful because we give them advice, they do it, right? Hey, max out your 401k, they do it. Hey, take a loan against your 401k and buy your first property, they do it, right? Success loves speed. The quicker you do something, you go through that experience, you make more money, and it's rinse and repeat. So definitely get mentorship, but make sure it's paid mentorship. And as I said before, don't get the mentor who's, making all the most money. Get the mentor that's 2 or 3 levels from where you are. Because like I said, they know where you're at, they know where to get there, but they're not high on a high rise where they forgot how to get there. Understand that? Right, do you guys have a mentor now? Raise your hand. Anybody has a mentor? Okay. Paid mentor or unpaid mentor? Paid, okay. So you let the room know. You think, and I'm not asking how much it was, you think that was a good investment or a bad investment?
Well, it's paying off, so it was a good investment.
There you go. And because of the tax code, that mentor that you're paying you is tax deductible. Isn't it kind of weird if we go to school and get an education and we spend $50,000, $60,000 a year on tuition, we can't write that off? The Army paid for my school, but my wife's school, she had to pay for it. Her master's was $60,000. Now, it's crazy. My wife, I was blessed to retire my wife in 2013, but we both graduated in 2005. So she has not been working like a job per se since 2013, but she wanted to get her master's just to, do something. So we paid $60,000 for her master's in 2016, her MBA. $60,000. I got no tax deduction from it. Nothing. If I spent that $60,000 in mentorship, it would have been a $60,000 tax deduction. 40% tax bracket. It wasn't really $60,000, it was $32,000. Why is it that we go to school, nothing again, I love me some college, right? But why is it we go to school and we're not able to write it off? We have a mentor, not a professor who's talking theory, but a mentor that's been there, done that, knows the ropes, and actually give you real practical answers today. We get to write that off. I'm not anti-school system, but the school system is crazy. It should be reversed, right? I actually think more people will go to college and more people will graduate if it's a tax deduction, because when you're in college, you're not seeing the value. And you got a student loan bill. So now you're a junior, you don't got no answers, I'm dropping out. I got to pay all this money anyways. At least if it's a tax deduction, you're seeing some type of value right then and there. Conversation for another day. All right.
Take that money to Congress.
Yeah. So how does this help you professionally, right? So did I help you guys today? Did you guys become more knowledgeable?
Yes.
Raise your hand, we became more knowledgeable. Okay, awesome. Now you think now with the information I gave you guys, you're going to be able to attract higher level clients? Raise your hand if that's the case.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. You think you're going to add more value between the sale now with all the information I gave you guys? Raise your hand. Okay, awesome. And do you think now, because of the information I gave you guys, you're going to stand out compared to other real estate agents? Raise your hand if that's a yes. Okay, all right, just want to make sure. And this is where they see leverage, right? Leverage is other people's money, OPM, leverage. You scale quickly because of leverage, right? Most businesses, they don't spend their money, they spend other people's money. They spend other people's influence. That's how they market. You saw Super Bowl yesterday, almost every single commercial has some type of Latin twist to it. You kind of notice that? Mm-hmm. Why? Because of Bad Bunny, right? So they leveraged the highest grossing musician last year. They leveraged all his Grammy, all the influence that he brought, another demographic, and all advertisers said, I'm going to leverage him in my commercials. You should leverage people through mentorships and education. ROI. Write this down, please. ROI. It is not return on investment. ROI, again, I repeat, it is not return on investment. You got to say it 3 times. That's how I want to get you in your head. ROI is not return on investment. The real ROI is relationships over independence. I'll say this again. Relationships over independence, and the 3rd time's a charm. Relationships over independence. The more business relationships that you have, it's going to open more doors. The more business relationships you're going to have, you're going to be able to feed off of a person, right? Now, relationships are good, but how can they be great? Money has to exchange, right? You referring out that contractor is one thing, but that contractor giving you a piece of the business is another. If that contractor helps you get that sale and you give that contractor a piece of your commission, that goes a long way. So a relationship, if it's not transactional, is good, but it's not great. That's why it goes back to mentorship. A mentorship that you don't pay is good, it's not great. You don't pay attention because you're not paying, that's why you pay attention. So anytime money is transacted, then you're partners, right? A partner, when we win together, we both make money. When we lose, we both lose. I want to be partners. I don't want to be a boss, because when a boss loses, you still get paid. So as the employee or the person getting paid, I don't really care because I'm getting paid either way. I want to be a partner. I want to share your wins. I want to share your losses because we both in the situation, we learn from them, and what can we do together to make sure it doesn't happen again? So have partnerships, but make sure it is transactional. Okay. That's why the president's so successful. Not being political, but the reason why, love him and hate him and love him, that's because he's transactional. Now, sometimes he gets a little bit overboard with his transactions, but I think that's why he was able to cultivate some relationships over time, because it's transactional. People can't stand them, but they make money with them, so they'll deal with them. All right, so this is not about doing everything today. It's about knowing what is possible and having a plan. That's why you use a certified financial planner. That's why you use a tax strategist. That's why you have a mentor to build you out a 3, 6, 12-month plan, because Rome was not built in a day. It was a plan. Talking about Rome, I almost got stuck in Pompeii. So we was in Italy maybe 11 years ago, and they have buses that come from Rome, because it's about an hour, about 2 hours out. And I'm taking all these pictures, talking. I'm a talker. Talking to the tour guide, we almost missed our bus. And look at my wife's face. We finally got on the bus as was driving down. Man, she wanted to kill me. Kill me. All right, CTA, strategy session, right? Strategy session with yourself. I want you guys, and again, success loves speed. So I want you guys today to literally look in your mirror and tell yourself, from this information, what are you going to do to change? And then change it. So you should have your own 15-minute strategy session today. I know it sounds, why should I look in the mirror? I'm staring to the man in the mirror. Michael Jackson, right? Look in the mirror. I do this once a week. Positive affirmations go a long way. I literally talk to myself once a week in the mirror. What can I do this week to make an impact in somebody's life? What can I do today to scale my business? What can I do today that's going to help people? And I do it. So strongly recommend have your own strategy session with yourself today for 15 minutes and then execute, because success loves speed. Number 2, a wealth pathway. Get with a certified financial plan. Doesn't matter where you're at income-wise. A plan is a plan that can be created and grow. Get with a certified financial planner. Get with a tax strategist. Make sure that we have the structure in place. Make sure we have a plan in place to buy that first rental property, so that we have 2 tax deductions instead of 1. Now we can have the experience to talk to clients at a higher level. Get that plan done and created in education, implementation. YouTube University, implementation. Last thing, final thought. Do not just focus on how much you make. Focus on how much you keep. It goes a long way, because most people don't have a destination. You cannot build wealth if you don't know where you are going. I want to get rich. What does that look like? I want to be wealthy. What does that look like? It's just words. You need to first pinpoint your destination and then create the pathway to get there. All right? Most people focus on income, not direction. You cannot measure progress at a destination. Hard work without direction feels like you're running in place. Last thing, and then I'm done. The aha moment for you guys should be your destination and how quick you're going to get there, because I continue to say success loves speed. We all want to go to Miami. I'm going to Miami. Every 3 from all my mentors, every 3 months we have a yacht party. And just like we have to do a mastermind on the yacht, it's a tax deduction for me, which is great. But yeah, man, Miami's fun time. Fun time. All right. 3 ways we get to Miami. We can either take our bike, drive, or fly. What's going to be the slowest time to get to Miami? Flying, car, or bike? Bike. Why? It's a bike, right? Right? Yeah. Also, with the bike, what happens?
Funds are going fantastic.
Yeah. So on a bike, isn't it more bumps in the road? Right? It's more bumpier. Every single bump, right? Oh, I got to stop. I got to start. Got to stop. Got to start. It's a longer process. It's more bumpier, and it's more frustrating, right? Right now, you guys doing things on YouTube University, you're riding your bike, right? You're getting information. You're doing it because, you're doing it, riding that bike. But it's frustrating. It's bumpy. You don't know nobody who to turn to, right? Because you're on that bike. Then we got the car. The car. We get there a little bit quicker, right? But it still bumps in the road, right? Being in the car from here to Miami, that's like having a mentor without paying. That's like doing a coaching program. That's like doing a course, right? You took the extra step. I took the extra, and I'm going to get there quicker. You doing a coaching, you going to a seminar, you doing webinars, right? You're going the extra mile compared to a bike. So it's helping, but it's not the fastest. The fastest is that plane. No bumps in the road there. It's efficient, it's fast, it's quick. That plane is with mentorship. I know I'm talking about mentorship till I'm dead in my face. Again, I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on mentorship, but it is worth it. You spend money on mentorship, it is worth it. Once you have that first paid mentor, you see the value, and the IRS rewards you because it's a tax deduction. So now you get all of the information from the pilot. When I'm on a plane, I don't know how to fly the plane. Who does it for me? The pilot. So all that knowledge, all that expertise doing turbulence, the pilot's doing that for me. When business is not doing good, somebody canceled a contract, somebody said it's going to use me, did not. Why? I get to talk to a person that's been there, done that, pivoted, and is more successful because of it. I'm able to learn from him or her. That's paid mentorship. You're not going to get that from a webinar, from coaching, from a seminar. You're not going to do that and get that from YouTube University. You're going to get that on that plane. So you have a number. You have your destination. I want to ask you guys and gals a question. How are you going to get there? By bike, by car, or by plane? I'm done. Oh, no, not. Because we have to say our creed, because we speak things into existence, we say things out loud, it manifests. So on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I am a wealth builder.
Don't you feel it? Don't we feel it? Woo-hoo. Okay. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I want to create a legacy.
We want to create a legacy. We can create a legacy. And we will create a legacy. Number 3. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I want to transform my finances.
You're going to look in the mirror for 15 minutes today. You're going to talk to yourself. Your wife, your husband might be like, what are you doing? I'm manifesting right now. And then you're going to execute. And number 4, on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I want my profits to be passive.
I want my money to work in my sleep, not on my feet. Questions for me?
I have one.
Yes.
So if you hire your kids at tax time, do you have to give a
Oh, yeah. IRS loves documentation. Yeah. So that's the good thing about structure, right? Because your tax strategist or your CPA, whoever that is, or both, they should have you to do a 1099. You want to have a couple things, though. You want to have an employment agreement, right? You need documentation. So employment agreement, so you as the guardian signs off on it, right? Or if it's your grandkids, your kids sign off for the grandkids. So you want to have that documentation. Yes, and then they get a 1099. Of course they do. Of course, yep. So if we operate our business, we're not going to operate it like a non-business. We're going to operate it like Walmart. When Walmart hires a person, they have operating agreements. They put them on payroll. They have 1099s. If you're an S-Corp, it's a W-2. So yes. But that's the job of your tax strategist. Like for our clients, we create all that documentation. If you do an LLC, your rental agreements, we create all that stuff, right? You put the kids on payroll, your employment agreement, your operating agreement, we do that. When you go on vacation, that's a tax deduction. But you need a vacation log. So we create in your operating agreement that you do real estate outside of Florida or you're buying property outside of Florida in your operating agreement, so it's justified. Then a vacation log. Under the tax code, as long as you spend 4 hours, it is a tax deduction. So what do? Once we fly to that destination on the weekend on a Friday, that flight is a tax deduction. The lodging is a tax deduction. How do we do that? Well, since we're real estate agents, we can look at houses ourselves, or we can just talk to a real estate agent. So our drive from that hotel to that site, that's a half an hour. Remember, it's 4 hours. That's a half an hour. Then we're meeting with that real estate agent for 2 hours, looking at properties or a property. That's 2 hours and 30 minutes, right? Me having lunch with that real estate agent. When we have lunch now, that's a tax deduction, right? So that's the business activity. That hour lunch, talking about real estate, that's 3 hours and 30 minutes. And then that drive home from lunch back to my hotel is 4 hours. That's a tax deduction. And since it's either on a Friday or a Monday, it's the weekend. So Saturday, hotel, food, tax deduction because it was tied to a activity on Monday or on Friday. Sunday, the same thing, and on Monday, the same thing. To take it further, if you do Zooms with your customers, which I would strongly recommend, another business activity that shows value. If I'm out of town and I'm doing a Zoom, I'm doing a virtual walkthrough, I'm doing a strategy call, I do that for 4 hours, that is a tax deduction because I'm doing business, doing vacation. But if I don't have my operating agreement in place, saying I'm doing those things, if I get out of it, I can get those write-offs, took it away from me. So strategy is important, but documentation is the key. Did I answer your question? Okay. What other questions we have? Now, the worst question is the one not asked. All right? So, now I charge $1,000 an hour. So for our tax strategy, we charge $5,000 to do everything. We do tax strategies. We do your tax strategies. We set up your bookkeeping. We have a bookkeeper on file, so they set up your bookkeeping, your tax strategies, all the documentation, and we create your trust will and power of attorney because we have an in-house attorney. So we do everything for $5,000. But our strategy sessions is $1,000 an hour. So you better use me. Better use me. So what questions you got? Again, the worst question is the one not asked. Yes?
I have a couple. Maybe you can help me with what my question is. But when we're talking about writing off, it's trying to drive the profit as low as possible.
Yes.
So, for example, let's say my profits for the year are $100,000, and then this costs me, $10.
Mm-hmm.
And then I write it off. But I don't think of this as like acquiring $10. I need to think about this as acquiring $7, like a 30% discount.
There you go.
Is that the way it works?
There you go. Yep. Everything I spend money on, I think of from a tax standpoint, right? My last mentorship I paid was $10,000. I said it's $10,000, but it's really $6,000 because I'm in a 40% tax bracket, right? If you look at things that way, things are actually cheaper now, right? Right? If I buy a car, if it's a tax section 179A, right? If I buy an SUV, that SUV is more than 6,000 pounds, and it's $80,000. $80,000, but if I'm in a 20% tax bracket, it's not $80,000. It's $16,000 off, so it's really $64,000. A lot more justifiable now with $64,000 compared to $80,000, right? The IRS is your biggest business partner. So yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
And someone like me, if my personal propensity is to spend more.
Mm-hmm.
I love to spend money.
Mm-hmm.
So that can get abused sometimes too. Like, what are some things to put in place? Be like, oh, well, just because you get a 30% discount.
Can you say wipe?
Just don't
Yeah.
come to that.
Because then I'll use that as an excuse to,
Now, my apologies because the Army taught me scribble scrabble, so my handwriting's not the best. But you guys write this down. The 50, 30, 20 rule. Oh, that's bad. 50, 30, 20 rule. This is how you spend money. This is budgeting 101. Again, I'm a certified financial planner. 80% of my revenue is on financial planning and investment. So, we do tax strategies, but this is my bread and butter. 50, 30, 20 rule. Every $100 that comes into your pocket, $50 should go for needs. Okay? Mortgage, car payment, JEA, gas, groceries, things that we need to survive. 50% or $50. $100 comes in, $50, pew. $30, 30%. That goes towards wants. Okay? Things that I want to do. Buying a water bottle. I don't need to do it. I want to do it. That's part of that 30%. I want to go on vacation. Even though I get to write it off, I don't need to do it. I want to do it. That's that 30%. I want to go to a concert. I don't need to do that. I want to do it. That's out that 30%. Okay? The other 20%. This goes towards savings and taxes. Okay. Now, this is the cool thing about the 20%. The 20% is cool because if I have my stuff structured properly and I'm a real estate agent, I should be paying no taxes. So I make $100,000 a year, $20,000 for savings and taxes. I don't need to use this $20,000 if my tax deductions equal my profits, which equals I don't pay Uncle Sam no money. So now what I do with the $20,000? I buy another property. I buy another property. That's $20,000 down, right? Get a loan, OPM, other people's money. That $20,000 down, give me a $200,000 property. Guess what? That $200,000 property, because of a cost segregation study, I get $150,000 of tax deductions for 5 years. That's $30,000 a year of tax deductions. I just talked about, right? When I buy a rental property, I can do a cost segregation study, and I get to depreciate that house for 5 years. So now for the $20,000 I was going to do to pay the IRS, because I got my business structured properly, I hired a tax strategist, I got my operation agreement in order, I got my documentation in order, I done saved $20,000 that I was mentally expecting to pay the IRS that I'm not. So now since I had that plan in place, I looked in the mirror for 15 minutes and said what I'm going to do, and now I execute it, I'm now able to buy that property. And next year I do it all over again. So with this $20,000, what do I do next year? I do it again. Then I do it again. Now 5 years from now, you have 5 or 6 properties. 5 or 6 properties gives us that passive profit, money coming in, all because I did the 50-30-20 rule. Understand that? Raise your hand if you understand the 50-30-20 rule. Okay? All right? This is the cheat code right here. Again, 50% needs, 30%, like that water bottle, that's a want, not a need. And then the 20%, taxes and savings. But if things are structured properly, I'm not paying taxes, this is free money I get to use to buy another property. And we do it all over and over and over again. Great question. You got a question, Will?
I have clients that basically invest on a yearly basis, but they always have a different idea. So should they open up an LLC for each property if it goes above $1 million? And I always prefer to talk to a tax strategist. But would you have any good recommendation for us to talk to clients if we come across situations like that? They are repeat customers, they buy every year.
Okay. So like who to refer to or what to say?
Yes. To say to them what is the best way to do and refer them.
Okay.
To the expert.
So referral wise,
you,
yeah. So you refer them to me. Again, my price is my price. It's $5,000 or more, right? So to structure everything through the tax strategy is at least $5,000. We'd love to help them. $5,000 that they pay, they're going to save a lot more. So they should use me, but my price is my price. So refer them to me, of course. But then give me a scenario so I can make sure I give you a correct answer. So they got $1 million, or they're looking for $1 million property.
They're spending about $1 million.
Okay.
Looking at properties, different shapes and forms.
Okay.
And, they have been buying for the past 10 years.
Okay.
Without fail every single year.
Yeah.
And now it gets to a point when they wanted to have a separate LLC for each properties, and they asked me, is that wise?
Yeah. Yes and no. Okay. So it's 4 anonymous. You guys write this down, education-wise. It's 4 states that they want to make sure that LLCs fall under as a property holding company. Property holding company. 4 states that are anonymous, right? First, Nevada, then Wyoming. We like Wyoming the best. Delaware, and South Dakota. The reason why they should have a holding company in these states because they're anonymous, which means when a person looks for them, they don't know who owns the property. In the state of Florida, when you put your information as an LLC, you need a registered agent and you need to know who owns this property. So people know who owns that LLC. In these 4 states, they do not. So all their properties should be in a holding company. That holding company should be housed in one of these 4 states. Okay? That's just one thing, though. But since they're in Florida, the business in Florida, then they have to have a Florida LLC. So the Florida LLC is called a foreign entity, FE, foreign entity. So they will register in SunBiz in the state of Florida, but it's not registered as a business in Florida. It's registered as a foreign entity in Florida, right? So I own the holding company, and the holding company owns the Florida foreign entity. This is to make sure if they get sued, can't nobody get them. Also make sure that they're operating in Florida and they get all the tax deductions in Florida because we are a state-free tax. This is why you pay me $5,000, right? And so what do? They buy commercial buildings. They buy commercial buildings because a commercial building, all of that $1 million is a tax deduction. They make $500,000, they buy a $1 million tax deduction, they're not paying taxes for 2 years. You're going to be an awesome real estate agent. Or if they don't want to do commercial, they want to do at least a duplex. So the duplex gives you 4 streams of income, and it's active, right? Because we're actively managing it. So that means if they are a W-2 employee, all that money that they make, all the losses is tied to their active income, not their business income that has those losses. That's what you're saying.
Thank you.
Answer your question?
Yes.
Cool. Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Yes.
Do they have to have a license or not a license, sorry, an office in any of those 4 states?
No, a registered agent. So you pay a registered agent $150 bucks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the registered agent is not you; it's somebody else. You pay them, whatever, 150 bucks. Of course, you have to pay. We like Wyoming because Wyoming the filing fee is like 25, like I think 35 bucks, very very cheap. Delaware is the most expensive filing fee, so you do got to pay state taxes each year.
Right.
But I'm okay paying a couple $100 in filing fees if I get to protect my property from lawsuit. My neck, my back, and my back. People sue, right? Right. Real quick, have a client in Georgia. They had a property in Wisconsin. They did not take my advice. They was being El Cheapo. The renters had a government picture. The government picture went out, bit a person in the ankle. It was an $80,000 lawsuit. And guess who had to pay for it? The business owner had to take it out of his 401k because he did not listen to me. Even though he's paying me to invest his money, he did not want to structure his business correctly. He didn't want to spend an extra $5,000. You think that he is unhappy today that he didn't spend $5,000 because that's an $80,000 liability? Of course, right? And guess what? His renter's insurance goes up as well now, right? Yeah. So you got to pay. And when you pay, you don't delay. Anything else? Well, thank you guys so much. Again, you guys can scan the QR code for the for the slide, and then also we have automation. So tomorrow you will get our blueprint. I think in a week you'll get a text with my YouTube, which is Paying for Profits, and then you have our office number, so you can text, ask questions. The worst question is the one not asked, and I would strongly recommend you refer. We have affiliate links, so if a person becomes a client, we'll give you a link. You get 20% because again, it's partnership. If you refer me, you get something back. So when our $5,000 kind of tax planning package, you get $1,000, we get $4,000. So yeah. So again, we're partners. So yeah, great deal. So cool. All right, thank you guys so much.
I'm just saying, if I get you 5, then it ends up being free for me.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank y'all. Y'all be blessed. Thank you. I hope I did. Yes. I think I saw. Are we still live, y'all? Huh? Hey, can we take a group picture real quick?
Yes, please.
All right. Hey, y'all. I gave y'all great information. Let's make some painful promise together, y'all. Peace. Okay. All right.